it's always nice to know how you got there, how you got to be who you are. So, really starting off with, what did you do before you encountered or started studying this shamanic work, or was it something that you've always done?
Um, yes and no. I've always done it, and I've not always done it.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, I was quite clear-sighted when I was a child.
Hmm.
And I remember one story which was quite important for me to move away from all that. It was I was living in a family in a little village in Gleisdorf, and there was a neighbor who came always drunk, and he was, for me as a child, he was very old, but
Right.
actually for the rest of the world, he wasn't as old as that. I
Right.
think he was something like 59 or 60. And I met him on the way, and I came home and I said, he's going to die. And I remember that my mother said, don't say a thing like this, because
Yeah.
when you say a thing like this, it will happen.
Yeah.
And 3 days later, he passed away,
Right.
and I was very sure that I killed him.
Oh.
So that was a quite painful experience, and I was very, I started to be very afraid from my power, and I kept it away.
Right.
And then I remember when I was 14, 15, I had times again that I was a little bit watching those possibilities,
Mm.
but still very scared, stepped back very soon. And then I started a very normal life, and I thought, oh, that's good to have a normal life.
But it wasn't to be.
Till the normal life became a mess.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was a primary teacher, and I did some theater work, and I loved theater because all the troubles that I had in my life,
Mm.
I could put on stage in screaming, crying, shouting, and everyone clapped his hands, of which made me feel good. So I didn't need a psychotherapist. I did it on stage. And then from one moment to the other, I had the feeling I have to stop the theater work.
Right.
And I stayed, I had a child already. And then I stayed here with and the child was already growing.
Right.
I saw she will not stay long anymore in the house.
Right.
She's growing. And then I was 36. With 36, I stopped theater work, which was my life. It was nowadays I know that was my way to
Mm.
keep my soul on earth.
Right.
It was movement theater, to move the body. It was my way to be into my body.
Right.
And then I had this work as a teacher left, and I loved the children, but I always felt very, very limited with this work, because I would have done much. I was working in an alternative school, but I would have loved to do it much more alternative. I had so many ideas, but you can't teach more alternative than the parents had experienced as alternative teaching.
Right.
Otherwise, you get problems with the parents, and that is already at least 20, 30 years old ideas.
Yeah.
So that was always a bit hard for me. And then I had several people passed away in my family, in my friend's place.
Sure.
I also count my cat inside because
Naturally.
I loved him. So actually, I lost very, very close to 4 people in 1 year.
Wow.
And then I was near to a burnout.
Yeah.
Very near to a burnout. I've lost the job that I loved, the theater work, and I've lost all those people, and I thought I'm on the end. I didn't know that the end is always a beginning.
Yeah, certainly is. As more of us are finding out today in these times.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
you will see we go through it much better than we think.
Yeah.
I had these visions in the last days very, very strongly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, actually, that was the moment where I heard from a woman from England.
Oh.
She's your colleague, Michael. And she was from South England, actually from Cornwall.
Right.
And her name is Patricia Engove. And I heard from her that she leads people far back than others. And I remember that when I came into her groups, I said, I don't want to learn anything. It's not about helping others. I need help myself.
Right.
Can I come? And she said, of course, come. And then I started a teaching about trance work and transformational healing.
Right.
And this healing brought me through so much ancestor stuff.
Ah, okay.
And, for me, it was not very easy to reach my ancestors generally because I've grown up in 3 different families. I left my father and my parents, they divorced. Then I came to a family where I grew up with 12. I was looking for another family to look for me because I was always in a bubble of fear.
Right.
And with 15, I left the house completely, and I lived on my own, experiencing everything that you want to experience in this age, and others cannot because the parents are around.
Right.
And I lost now the line.
Right.
Yeah, I had not this. I even didn't know my grandparents, I had no possibility. I didn't know who I am. I didn't know who my family is. And so the ancestors, to know about the ancestors, it was something far away. Right. And through this trance, I went through all those lives of my ancestors and I got in the real life so much information then that all that where I went through, it's true. And it never stopped.
Right.
This, let's say, science work for my ancestors, it never stopped. And when I went to, I was invited, I was working already as a meditation trainer then. And I went to Munich, and in Munich we came from the big park and we went to the Temple of Diana, and there my legs fell. I couldn't walk anymore. I couldn't, I was crying, I was laughing all the same time.
All at the same time.
And I think if that would have happened to me some years earlier, I would have driven crazy. But in that moment, I stayed calm with it. I let the tears come. I was crying. 3 men were taking me on their shoulders, and then I just sit down in a corner. And the leader of this healer meeting, she said to me, ask your ancestors what's your next step. And that time I was still teaching also in school. And then I said, I was sitting there, I asked the ancestors, and that came very clear. And it was the first time that I heard the sentence so clear: go to Africa. And I got this shivering through the skin, this chicken skin that I always get, and most of the people, they get it when it's true. So I said to them, yes.
And how long ago was this? Which year was this?
This was 2000. This was in June 2004.
2004. Okay.
In June 2004, and as I said, I promised them I will go. And from that moment, tears stopped. I was very fine. I could just do pop, 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 and I could walk again. And then I told that the lady asked me, what did your ancestors tell me? And I said, I have to go to Africa. I don't know where. I don't know when. I don't have any idea, but I promised it, and I think I have to do it quite soon, otherwise my legs will fall in pieces again. And she said, wonderful. I'm just arranging right now a healer meeting in South Africa. It will be in November. And I just said, yes, I come, no matter what. I had no money that time to do it because I was always very on the edge with the money. I had no money to do it. I still didn't know how to get free from school, but that moment I was already on that point. If they don't let me go, I will quit it. And then a teacher whom I haven't seen since more than 20 or 25 years, he asked me if I would like to do a workshop in teaching students for theater. So the theater work came a bit back to me, which gave me a better goodbye from it.
Right.
The same time I got exactly the amount that I needed for the trip in this workshop, plus a computer, because that one was also already very necessary to have that time. I never had a computer before. And then the next funny thing was I didn't say anything in school till September because I thought I will ask in the last moment. But in September, the director from the school, she came to me and she said, oh, you know, I made an NLP workshop. And we were 5 teachers because it was a full day school. So someone were afternoon, and 4 classes. So she said she would like to get free because her second part of the NLP is not anymore accepted from the government as a professional teaching. So she wanted to get free, and I said, yes, I'll do it. I'll take your children. I'll take your classes when you take mine in November.
Right.
And so everything went so smooth.
Yeah.
And then the surprises started. From that moment when I had it clear, I remember I was taking a bath. I was taking a bath at home, and the voices came through the first time. And I started to talk this crazy And it came just right in the bath, and I had no idea what it is. But I had the feeling from that moment I'm driving with a clan.
Right.
I'm not alone anymore. I'm going with the clan. And those ones, they were quite penetrant. Because in the beginning they came when they wanted. They pushed me down somewhere in the kitchen. They did what they want.
Right.
But always, that I also have to say, always for a good reason.
Yeah.
Because, for example, I remember I was sitting on the toilet.
As you do when these things happen.
I was sitting on the toilet, and in the toilet I have the thought, we have so many mice in the house.
Right.
I must do something about it. And exactly in that moment, they pushed me down from the toilet. I crawled out to the kitchen on 4 legs and started again to and thought, what was that? And next day, the mice have been gone.
Huh.
So I saw they react very fast.
Yeah.
They react very fast to my thoughts. And I started to understand that I have to train my thoughts.
Right.
Yeah, and then I was sitting in this plane. Finally, after those experiences,
Well, it was a warm up for you.
it was a warm up for me. After those experiences, I was sitting in the plane, and I heard some voices singing that I've never ever heard before. It was so beautiful for my ears.
Yeah.
And I was traveling with Swiss Air, and I thought, wow, this must be the music from the place where I go.
Right.
It's very nice that these South Africans, they play in the plane that music. And it continued all the night while I was sleeping, all the night. And then suddenly in the morning it stopped. And there was a guy sitting aside me, a young guy, and I said to him, can you help me that I can put this thing, because I'm not used to I would like to hear that music again that they played yesterday, and we can hear music here. And he said, which music they were playing yesterday? And then I knew it was just for me.
Yeah.
And now I know very, very well. I heard the first time the choirs from Botswana, which are the most beautiful choirs all over the world, if you ask me.
Right.
South Africa and Botswana, they have really, really beautiful, beautiful choirs.
Yeah.
Everyone knows to sing there. Those ones from South Africa, you can hear here, you win here all the choir competitions. You can hear them in the corners, in the yards, when there are funerals, everywhere in the townships, in the slums from South Africa. So I think I got the next preparation for my destination, Lynn.
Yeah, yeah. And sorry, was it in 2004 you met Credo Mutwa?
Yes. All that, it came in the one swap.
Wow.
It came in the one swap.
Right.
Because the next story was that during this healer week, we met wild lions, and the white wild lions. And the Zulus, the clan where Credo Mutwa is from, the Zulus, they for them the white lions are the most holy wild that you can imagine. And we met a woman who was working with wild lions, and they were behind a fence, and I was walking along that fence, and then this woman saw that one of the lioness is following me, and she said, "You know, she's following you. Can you see that?" And I said, "Yes, I do." And then again, these voices came through, and I don't know from where, but all those lions came along.
Right.
And this impressed that woman, her name was Gail Kleinschmidt, very much, that she invited me that I can come always free because I'm a part of the lions. And then when we had the meeting, I mean, we had several experiences. I could see that the dolphins in Mozambique, we went also to Mozambique, that the dolphins reacted very much to those voices. I could even call them with these voices, and the dolphins had in the last year, as you know, really a big part also again in my life. So I could see these voices are doing something, and the white South Africans in the group, they always said, "You sound like our natives. You sound like our natives when you are doing that." And I had no idea why, but it was okay.
Yeah, because sorry, you were I suppose a certificate or whatever, but you were witnessed by the elders speaking Old Sanguinese language. Is that correct?
Setswana.
Setswana, yeah.
Setswana. It was Credo Mutwa who told me that I'm speaking ancient Tswana.
The lady who has just prayed over Virginia's feet, where does she come from?
Austria. Thank you so much.
She has studied the ancient art, no?
No.
No? She speaks in the shamanic way. She speaks their language. One came one time years ago. He said,
Credo Mutwa, I met him actually after all those experiences. I remember that I entered to it was called Naledi, his house, which means light or star.
Right.
And his dog was called Sirius.
Yeah, Sirius.
Sirius.
Yeah.
And we entered to this place. Credo was not around when we entered. We entered in the evening, and I remember I sit there down and I thought, wow, everything is becoming okay.
Yeah.
I'm home. I felt so much this feeling of home. I had that all the way long in South Africa already. But in Naledi house, I had the feeling, you've made it.
Yeah.
That's it. I
Yeah.
made it.
Yeah.
And I was thinking when we meet him next day, what I should give him. And then I remembered I had a stone. I will show you that stone the next time. Maybe we can also make a
Yeah.
photo.
Yeah.
It's in the place where I'm working
Yeah.
quite often. So yeah, I had a big stone which had the shape from Africa. And I saw that stone, I picked it up and I thought, wow, that's Africa.
Yeah.
And then I thought, hey, but it's too big to bring it to Austria. I can't put it in the plane. It's too big. And then I left it all the week. I left it somewhere on the altar. I put it somewhere down, and I was hoping so much that one of the South African healers maybe would pick it on its own.
Right.
But nobody did. So I thought, okay, now I know what I will give to Credo. I will give to him this stone.
Right.
Because he's the one who probably knows what to do with it.
Yeah.
A funny thing was also we would have met Credo on the 11th of the 11th at 10 o'clock.
Right.
But the Dalai Lama was was in his place.
Right.
And we didn't know that yet. But I remember the day before when we entered, I saw a double rainbow. And I've worked in Graz already with the Dalai Lama in the Kala Chakra. And there they told when the Dalai Lama is leaving a place, there will be a double rainbow. And it was.
Right.
I remember there was a double rainbow in the Kala Chakra. It was a warm, sunny, wonderful morning, and exactly at the end of the Kala Chakra, there came a bit of rain and the double rainbow. And when I entered to the door of Credo and this double rainbow was here, that was already a feeling, oh, the Dalai Lama is also with me.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that he's there.
Right.
So we just heard that we must come 1 hour later.
Right.
So we came on the 11th of the 11th at 11 o'clock to Credo Mutwa. And everyone who doesn't know, but the 1 is really the number for God.
Yeah.
So we had it actually 6 times.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know, I didn't look at the clock, but of course it got some minutes later, and I wouldn't wonder if it was exactly 11 o'clock 11,
Right.
but that one I can't say.
Right.
But I wouldn't wonder. So he told us that the Dalai Lama has been here that time, and that was the reason why we came later. Yeah, and then everyone was able to put his question, and then I said, I have a present for you, and I brought him this stone. I brought actually the stone and he said, give it to my wife that she can see it because I don't see so well. She sees better. Then they started to discuss with each other. And then she brought back the stone to me and she said, this is an old healer stone. And Sangomas are using those stones in ancient times. And they are here to heal the kidneys.
Right.
And I said, yes, I wanted to give that stone anyway to Credo Mutwa. So, and then Credo said, no, he doesn't want that stone. He wants that I bring this stone to Europe because those things are not anymore safe in South Africa. And he had already quite a lot of problem that time in Naledi place. And yeah, he said I should bring them to Europe.
Right.
And when she gave me that stone and she gave it back to my hand, and I heard that I have to bring it back to Europe, it was such a holy moment for me, and I felt like, oh, I have to be the guardian angel for this stone. And inside me, I really heard the voice saying, you'll bring it back whenever it's needed. It doesn't belong to you. It doesn't belong to Austria. It doesn't belong to Europe. It goes back to Africa whenever it is needed. Mm-hmm. And with these voices, I also understood inside me what we are doing if we are bringing stones from one place to the other. That it's not just a simple thing to do.
Right.
That you take out a stone from somewhere, you bring it to another place. It makes something. It makes something with the whole earth. And I don't want to judge it now in good or bad. There are moments where it's good that it happens, but there are moments where it's also good that they must go back.
Yeah.
So, and in that moment, this Virginia Mutwa, the wife from Credo, she looked at me, and I heard those things the same time in this strange language, and in a way I knew what the meaning is, but I didn't open my mouth. And then several other people asked questions, and then from one second to the other, Virginia pointed to me. And I thought she means someone behind me, but there was no one behind me. I was sitting in the last row. And then she asked me, come out. And I felt quite shy to come out. And then she was a little bit bigger lady. Right. Beautiful bushman lady.
Right,
she's a Zwana, but she was married before she was married with Credo. She was married quite a long while with a bushman. And those women are tough. I can promise you. So she was sitting here, putting her arms like that, stretching her legs to me, and she just called me. And I kneeled down on my feet, on my knees. I kneeled down on my knees, took her feet, and there came an electric shivering through my whole body. It was like a sunlight goes through your spine.
Right.
And it came not from up, it came from down to up.
Interesting.
But very strong. Very strong. And I was there and I just touched her legs. I knew she opened now a new door for me. And then she was very happy and she said, wow, you are a healer. You healed my legs. I had such a fire in the legs.
Really?
I had such a pain in the legs. And you healed it. And I started to understand that this kind of thunder that I felt, which came from down, probably I took out from her feet.
Right.
And at the same time, it started something in me. At that moment, I understood that it's always one thing.
Right.
Healing yourself and healing others, it's one thing. If you stop with one, the flow doesn't work anymore.
Right.
It must be always a giving and taking and giving and taking. And it must be the same time. Otherwise, it doesn't work.
Right. And are you conscious of this when you do the healing of the giving and the taking? Or is it something that's so embedded in you now that you don't have to feel it or think it? It's just as natural as walking?
No, I don't have to think anymore about that. I mean, actually, I think we are healing anyway,
Yeah,
every and any moment.
yeah,
And I heard it several times that people told me when I'm around in their workshops that the things are happening different, or
yeah,
I'm not conscious about that. I'm just there. We are just there as you are just there in
yeah,
your work.
yeah,
We are there and we are doing our thing, and it's very normal, and it's very. I'm not thinking when I'm sitting in the tram that I'm here as a healer. I'm here as Elke Waclawiczek and not as nothing younger, the
yeah,
name that
yeah,
Credo gave me.
yeah,
I'm here as Elke Waclawiczek. I'm thinking about, oh, I have to do that shopping, but as soon as my body feels that there is some need somewhere, it's doing it itself.
yeah.
And I'm happy for that, because I want to live also a very normal life. Mike.
Good luck with that one.
You're right.
I think you are leading a normal life. Actually, it's the unnormal life that I think you're referring to. But yeah, it's a long journey that you've been on. But you've got several African names, haven't you?
Yeah. I mean, my first African name is Nasinyanga, which means daughter of many healers, of many moons.
Right.
The second name is for the Africans. It's very important. What is your name? Your family name, your father's name. And my name is Waclawiczek, and Waclawiczek means little bug. And when I came, because Credo gave me then he said to me, I must learn the Sangoma, because I'm speaking ancient Tswana, Setswana, so I have to learn. And I remember that I went home with the aeroplane, and I had again a delicious situation with my stone in my bag on the way home, because I couldn't put it in the big baggage. The same time I knew it will be very strange to explain them in my little baggage, but they didn't control my little baggage that time. Not at all. They didn't control my little baggage, because the machine fell out where I pushed it through. They didn't put me to another place, and they didn't ask me for nothing. And when I was in Zurich, because I went through Switzerland, I had 8 hours time, which was too much to spend them on the airport, so I went inside Zurich, which was quite funny for me, because I worked in Zurich when I was young as a waitress, and I saw it in a completely different. This city has changed so much. It's nice now, very nice, much nicer than it was when I was young. So I had the feeling that this stone should go into the water after the flight.
Right.
So I gave this stone into the water, and I was sitting there, and I was praying a little bit, closing my eyes. And when I opened the eyes again, I think this stone had collected the birds from the whole lake. It was so amazing. They were around me. All of them were a little bit in the position of sleeping, putting their head in the. It was ducks. It was swans. It was other birds. It was a big circle of animals. And I said, just, hello, who are you? And then I was looking around, and I was wondering, no one from the people saw it. And then when I took the stone out from the water, suddenly, all of them, they started to make a big noise and started to fly away. And that was the moment when the people recognized it.
Right.
That was the moment when I saw people standing still and looking around and what's going on here.
Yeah.
And then I packed my little stone again, went to the airport and brought it safely to Austria. And when I came the next year, I didn't forget your question, Michael. I still have it.
I've forgotten it. I've moved on from the question. But...
You will find. That's now my present for you. You have to find where I enter again inside your question. The very next year, I went alone to South Africa. And no, sorry, did a mistake. I went again with a little group, and the very, very first day, they brought me to Soweto, to a woman who lived in Midlands, Zone 7, in Soweto, and and she was a Sangoma, and I thought, again the Sangomas, I will keep back now myself. I don't want to be anymore in this. I had my thing with Credo. I'm happy. I moved backwards. It's time now for the others. And she had a chopper. A chopper is I don't have it here now. You also have to show it with a photo.
Okay.
She had a chopper, and this chopper was always moving in my direction. So all these voices came up again, shaked me, and she always said, "There's a spirit in the room. There's a spirit in the room. There is a spirit in the room." And then she started to talk with me in that language. And another woman translated it in English for the others. And I just saw that moment, I saw that I understand that language in pictures, because what she translated was going on in my head in pictures.
Yeah.
Completely, one by one. One by one. And at the end, I ended up that visit that she gave me a Sangoma Lapi. Also a picture. We will have to make many pictures.
Yeah.
And she said, "This will keep my ancestors. If I want to learn from her, I can learn from her.
Right.
She's the one. I can learn wherever I want, but I should try to find someone who speaks that language." And then I understood she must be a Tswana, and I asked her, and she said yes. And I said, "Hey, Credo, you are fast to bring me immediately to a Tswana woman." But at the same time, and she was the one who gave me my second name.
There we are. Yes.
Shiluane, which means little bug.
Right.
As Waclawiczek. And the other name I got in the yard where I was living when I was learning in South Africa. It's Tlandla, because Tlandla means she brings luckiness. And as I brought lots of luckiness in this yard, they called me Ndlandla, and that name was also blessed from Credo and from Macy.
Right.
And nowadays they call me mostly Mama Africa when I'm coming there.
Lovely.
So I have many names in Africa.
Well, you know what, Elke, before we just move on and talk about the work you do as a shaman, I wonder if you wanted to just so that the people can understand the power of a shaman, talk about the experience taking the guy to the border when the borders were closed. Do you remember that story you told me? Where you was driving him to the border?
it was not Credo.
No, it's someone else.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's another story. I was already quite a long time. I was already a Sangoma. I was already an initiated Sangoma, because the initiation of Sangomas is not very easy. It's a job.
Yeah.
It's a job. To become a Sangoma is a job, and everyone who gets the call in Africa doesn't want it,
Right.
because they say, "Wow, it's too much job." And here in Austria, all the people say, "Oh, I want to be a Sangoma. I want to be a Sangoma."
Yeah.
And when they start to get the gifts, they start also to say, "Wow, it's quite a job."
Because you asked for it. Yeah.
You ask for it. And everyone has it inside.
Yeah.
I think everyone has a healer inside himself.
Yeah.
So, yes, that's another story. It's Bo. Bo was an old man I had this incredible luck. You must know Mutwa means bushman.
Right.
So Credo Mutwa had all his life a very, very strong relation to the Bushmen.
Mm-hmm.
And the Bushmen are many several tribes. Some white people, they think they have to be called San, because they think it's more correct than Bushmen. Mm-hmm. But the Bushmen, when they say something, they say, "I'm a Bushman." Also the Bushwoman say, "I'm a Bushman."
Mm-hmm.
Or they say their tribe.
Right.
And I had the big, incredible luck that I was leaded from a little guy who brought us away from our direction when we picked him up. I had the big luck to come to the most famous clan for the Bushman touch, to the New Huansi, which is a tribe from the Kung tribes.
Right.
And they are still living their lives as far as possible in their ways.
Yeah.
It's forbidden to hunt, but they do. It's forbidden to cross borders, but they do. They go by walking. They are really an incredible, wonderful, ancient tribe. And special in Botswana, they kept a lot of their habits and a lot of their ways. And I met there an old man who, when we did the healing the healing circle, the Bushman touch healing, and they give in that moment an energy which is called Num.
Okay.
And the Num brings you into the Kia, and the Kia is a total trance.
Right.
And and they do it actually every week. They make meetings, gatherings where they do it, and it's very important for the social relation in the clans. They say if the Bushman touch stops, if the Num stops,
right,
they will stop to be.
right.
So I had this honor to come there, to be with them, to spend times with them. And one old man whose name was Bo, I dreamt from him when I was in Austria. And I dreamt that he asked me to bring him to the border. And I said to him, Bo, I can bring you to the border, but I can't cross with you the border because you have no passport. And he said no, he wants to see his relatives in Namibia, so I shouldn't worry about the passport. That's never a passport for Bushmen. So I dreamt that I put him inside my car, and And while we were driving, he was already changing lead by lead into light.
Yeah.
And when I crossed the border, I saw what he meant when he said he doesn't need a passport.
Right.
And when I came the next man to the New Huanzi, they told me that Bo has passed away.
Oh,
And I asked, when did he pass away? And they said he passed away in January, and it was January that I had that dream.
right.
So we work with dreams, we work with ancestors, we work with body
Yeah.
and love.
Yeah. The priority, love. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about your work, Elke. With all the knowledge you've acquired, what is the foundation of your work, or do you have a foundation? Is it just whatever's needed to whomever?
Yeah, actually, I have this whatever is needed to whomever.
Yeah.
And I mean, there is one work which is called Healing Through Memory, which I call really my work.
Yeah.
Because it has the transformational healing base, but there came also so many influences from the Africans inside, many influences that just came through me overnight.
Yeah.
So I'm doing these courses which take 5 weekends still, wherever they are asked. And I do it in personal sessions a lot. That's the thing that most of the people are asking for.
Right.
It's healing through memory. It means I just sit there, I go in trance, and it makes their body also willing to go to trance, and they walk wherever their soul is bringing them,
Right.
and I just click them back on the end. That's what I do, but it's quite successful.
Right.
And it's quite changing lives.
Right.
I mean, if you do that, if you make it, you must expect there is change coming with it.
Right. And they're one-to-one sessions, or do you do that in groups?
I do it in groups. I teach people to do it.
Right.
I teach people to do it. So then there are 5 weekends, and it's also 1-by-1 session. Someone can come and say, I want to have a healing through memory session, and I'll do it. And other people, they say, I want to get more of it. Then they learn it, but they learn it to do it with others, and at the same time, all the rubbish comes up. All their rubbish comes up. There is no way out. If you open that door one time, you find all your shadow sides, your dark sides, but if you don't open the box, there is no space anymore inside you for light.
No.
So it's very good to face it.
Yeah.
And there are also very beautiful memories coming, and you can feel the ancestors much stronger. And then I do the Sangoma work.
Okay.
One of the most important is I do 1 Num night a year. This time it should be in Vienna. I don't have exactly, I think it will be something like August or September. We are drumming the whole night, and we are healing the whole night. It's a healing, drumming, giving, taking. There is fire, and that's one of my most amazing works. I mean, I don't want to say my works, because I'm always working with the whole clan behind me. And to this Num night, I really want to invite Elizabeth and you.
Thank you. Is it going to be outside in the Steinhof, or on private land, or?
I'm still. I mean, I'm still looking a little bit around here. I would love to do it this time near Vienna. All my works, I mean, in Graz, it would be much easier now to create the healing through memory, because I have a free place there that I'm always using, and there are people from Graz who really would like to join it, but something inside me says, no, I have to bring it to Vienna. So actually, I hope that there will be people. Otherwise, I say, okay, we has to wait. And the noon night, I'm looking still around for a place in Vienna, and there is one that I have in my eye now. It's private land. It's nobody there, far away, only relatives of the owner. So, and it's very, very near to Vienna. Very, 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 very near to Vienna. But it is a wonderful protected space. And otherwise, I have a space in Styria, which is really out in the forests, last house in the forests, and also quite good to work for that. So the NUM will be, no matter if it's in Vienna or in Styria. I'm now on my way to work for this place in Vienna, to connect for this place in Vienna. And otherwise it will be in Styria. And the healing through memory, I want to do it in Vienna.
Right. And the work you do with the family constellations, I think you do that a bit different from other people as well, I'm told.
Actually, I was working with systemic people 2 years. I learned from them, and I learned a lot from them. But I came to the point, I really came to the point I can't work anymore with them. Because there are some rules, they limited my work so much that I can't do that anymore. So I decided to make my own work out of it. The family constellation, it comes from South Africa, everyone knows. And it's I don't limit it in. It takes what it takes in time. I don't limit it in time. I let the people much more free in working. It's not me who tells them what to do. I open the space, and as soon as I have opened the space, it's working on itself. And the next thing is, I don't want to know the issues, because I don't want to know more than the others. So actually, it's a kind of mixture. I heard about I did some holy ash circles with the ex-wife from Malidoma, and she taught me that in Western Africa they have these ash circles. Then I brought those ash circles back to South Africa, because their Credo and the Sangomas told me, yes, that's a thing we also did, but here only the Sangomas did it. There it was done from the eldest. It's a circle that you make when there is any problem in the village, in the city. So Subonfu taught me again the ash circling, and I had all those knowledge from here, from Europe, from the systemical working people, and then the Sangomas brought a new push inside, because the bone oracle is actually a family constellation.
Okay.
So all those things together, they opened such a new space for me, and I said, okay, let's do it. And when I saw I'm too much limited, I just and it was funny, because I started to work with a systemical with a man who did systemic work here in Vienna with those long ago. It's 15, 16 years ago. And the groups were full, but when I really started to do that kind of, the groups were full.
Right. Yeah.
It started to be and I'm very excited now to start it up again now in Vienna, because after that long break we never know who will come, who will not come. But I think it's still a work which is needed.
Yeah.
It's just much more free and much more ancient.
Right. And what are you doing on the 19th of this month? You've got something coming up on the 19th, next Wednesday, I think.
Yes. Next Wednesday I'm doing this kind of Ash circle. I call it Aschenkreis der Seelenaufstellung. It means Ash circle of soul constellation.
Right. Okay. Super. And just to wrap this up, you've got books and all kinds of other things you would like to tell us about your books?
I've got one book.
One book.
I've only written one book.
Okay.
And that was really channeled and my experiences. It was just to put my experience from South Africa, from my initiation, together in a way to keep out what must stay secretly, and to tell what I can tell.
Yeah.
And also it gives in a simple way to read it an understanding for Southern Africa. I really tried to discover the history new, because every history book is written from white people in South Africa, and I made lots of interviews with people there who experienced those times, and so I really tried to find the truth.
Right.
As we know, the truth is never, the truth is always a truth. For a moment, if I would write the book again today, I would add some things new, I would write some things different, but from all my heart, that book is as much truth as I knew in that moment.
Right. Elke, before we go, what is the draw to Vienna? I was pulled to Vienna. Many healers are pulled to Vienna. I know it's got a bizarre history, a lot of synchronicity, with some very, I'd say, dodgy characters being brought to Vienna. It is a beautiful city nonetheless, and there's some wonderful people in there. But it does seem a lot of healers and light workers are being drawn to Vienna. Is that something that you have thought about, you've understood, and why you've been drawn to Vienna more so recently? Or you haven't thought about it, you've just rolled with it?
Oh, I've thought about it a lot. Yeah. I mean the main point to change most of my business now from Graz to Vienna came from my heart, because my daughter was here, my little granddaughter is here. My daughter was in a bit of troubles that time, she needed me, and I just said, just do it, go for it.
Yeah.
And if I think now, I mean, the life has brought me many times to places which were in troubles.
Right.
And I mean, it's absolutely crazy, because I packed my whole business 1918 to Vienna. I was working already 15 years, once a month in Vienna, but my whole business I packed to Vienna, and now I'm once a month in Graz. So I just swapped. Yeah. And then came this time with Corona quite fast.
Yeah.
So somehow I think I'm I'm drawn to places which have difficulties, and I don't mind anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm such a nomad.
Yeah,
I'm here now.
yeah,
I don't know what exactly I have to do, but there are always some things coming inside, and actually I think life will tell me.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
And I've been in South Africa this year while the big corona story was, and they told no one can move out from Austria, and I went to South Africa, and my heart was very happy to be there,
Yeah.
and I really I felt, it's like holidays after all that, to be with the wild and to be with those beautiful people. And
Yeah.
I have a man there that I love. But at the same time, I knew from the beginning I'll come back.
Right. Yeah. And you did.
And I did. It was the other way around. I was scared that I couldn't come back if I go.
Yeah,
But
it was strange because I remember at the time there was all these restrictions that were changing literally from day to day, and somehow you managed to weave your way through it all. Divine intervention.
yeah, and I had a wonderful time there and really great experience again with the animals.
Yeah.
And it opened because usually I spent so much time in the townships, in the small villages. It opened another view to South Africa for me, because that time I was a little bit touristy. And I saw beautiful places from South Africa.
Taking time off work. Very naughty.
That was great.
Where can they find you? Your website details.
Schule-mir.at. So to say that in English, Schule, SCHULE.
Yeah.
Then this line, Bindestrich. I don't know how this is in English.
I've got it up on the website anyway. So Mia at Schule -Mia.at.
Schule? No, it's Schule Bindestrich Mia.at.
That's it. Yeah. Yep, I've got it up there. They'll see that, and I'll put it in the show notes as well.
Okay.
Elke, sorry. Thank you very much for your time this morning. And are you in Vienna?
Pleasure.
Are you in Vienna now, or are you going down to Graz now?
I'm going down to Graz today.